Didn't go.
Let's go.
Here we go.
Welcome, guys. We are back. Football No Filter. I am your host, Bruno Krak. I am with Jorginho. Jorginho, how are you, man? How was the summer?
Summer was good. Short, but good. Everything
Summer is
good. How's
all.
everything with you?
Everything's all right. Everything is everything. A lot of news and notes, as we know, right? While
Oh,
everyone's
yeah.
waiting for the big signings of our clubs, this, that, the other, and it seems like we're just waiting around, waiting around, waiting around. So, uh, without any more hesitation, what are your thoughts right now of the rumor mill and what your team has done thus far in the market?
Well, I mean, looking for. Let's start with my team. I think, I like the signings that we have so far. Um, with, well, we don't have a lot of signings when you really look at it. I mean, we have Pedrinho that was already signed early in the year. I don't know too much about him. I think he's young still, a little bit raw. Let's see what happens after Jorge Jesus puts his hands on him for a few months. Um, and then we signed Gilberto, which is a right fullback out of Fluminense that Jorge Jesus really liked when he was in Brazil.
Uh-huh.
More offensive than defensive. Still needs a lot of work on the defensive side, but a very offensive player. A player that has already scored in the preseason. So we'll like they say in Portugal, tem golo. He just has to learn more of the tactical side of the game, which I think Jorge Jesus will definitely help him with. Um, Vertogen, which is I mean, really don't need any introduction. A stud at Tottenham. Prior to that, at Ajax, a player that can play at a fullback, could play at a center D, or he can play at the left side, left defender as well. So versatile, a lot of experience. So I like that as well. It came on a free transfer. Of course, you got to pay the commissions and all that good stuff. Salaries. Well, actually, the commission I thought it was going to be a little bit higher. I think the total commission is 1.5 million euros, 500,000 euros each of the 3 seasons, which with his experience I think is well worth it. And then up to now the main signing, a player that I think is going to be tremendous in Portugal. I don't think he's going to be there too long. Everton Cebolinha, very uh, fascinating. I don't want to say fascinating, but a very technical player, player that a lot of finesse. And to be honest with you, I don't know how we were able to take him and transfer him over, especially at the price that he came over. Which, when you compare it with Pedrinho, they pretty much came in for the same amount of money and totally different players when it comes to experience and titles and so on. So I like the signings, and now obviously now this last signing that we're waiting for, the kid, Uruguayan international Darwin Nunes, which was supposed to be presented today, and it was canceled last minute. Rumored, or came out in the news, that it was because physical examinations weren't done on time. But I was just reading from CMTV. It looks like last minute, I think Benfica and the president tried to change the agreed terms as far as the commissions, and the player's father pulled them out of the exams until that was all squared away. So that's the latest news on that transfer. We'll wait and see what happens tomorrow. So far, he's scheduled to be presented tomorrow. Let's see if he is, and I'm sure we'll go into that transfer a little bit later. So that's what I got. But I mean, it's pretty slow. Like we were talking offline before, pretty slow transfer market.
Yeah.
Porto, Porto, deciding to do more of domestic transfers, not going too much outside of Portugal. Sporting, both a little
I
bit of a mixture, uh,
yeah,
buying
yeah.
bu- buying buying some from within and then getting a couple players from the outside as well. So a lot of mixture, but none of those big transfers that we're used to seeing. I mean, big transfers. When it comes to dollar amounts, we're seeing big dollar amount transfer numbers that really hasn't haven't been practicing in Portugal. But as far as big name players, the rumor is now that Porto's trying to bring Falcao over, but I'm sure you'll speak about that as well. So yeah, I mean, excited about the start of the season, and let's see what else we can who else we can sign.
All right. Well, I'll actually piggyback off what you just said about Falcao. I can assure you that that is not true. Porto already came out and said that it was not true. Um, it just doesn't make sense. I mean, a player that missed 24 games due to injury last year, and then on top of that, you're going to add um, he's making 5 million clean in Turkey. Clean, George. It's a lot of that's a lot of money.
It's a lot of
Um,
money.
and in Portugal, it's not possible to pay someone that is injured for 24 games making 5 million. It's like kind of like equivalent to what Cavani was going to do at Benfica. It just doesn't make sense. So at the end of the day, I don't think that was going to be feasible. I think that is a done deal. We did bring over Teremi. I'm going to be honest with you. I think Teremi is a good player, but I don't think that he's going to be. Um, I don't think he's going to be the player in which um, some people are saying. Is he solid? Yeah, I think he's going to be a very good number two, but he's not a number one, in my opinion. Is he a better finisher than the ones that we have? Eh, it's arguable. I mean, right now Suarez is scoring goals in preseason, which that doesn't really mean much. We have a Bubukar that is making 2 million clean, the most expensive player that Porto has on their roster. We have Marega that wants to be the most expensive, actually above and beyond. What's the most expensive player? So he wants to make more than 2 million a season to stay on. Um, and we have Zé Luiz, which was a complete bust, which I already saw that coming because I just didn't think that he was that good. We got to move some players, just like everyone else around in Europe. Everyone has to move players. I think we have to wait for the EPL clubs to start spending some money so money could start changing hands and people can go and buy some other players. Other than that, you're not going to see much. Um, I mean, we've seen in the past, this whole thing with the whole summer has been, is Messi going to be leaving Barcelona? Is he going to go to Man City? That's going to have a lot of money, and then we'll see what, if Barcelona's going to start spending. Um, but going back to Porto, I think we saw Claudio Ramos come in, and it's good because Marchesín just got hurt. Looks like he's gonna be missing the start of the season. Um, and we signed Carrasa, which was a right back, but he can also play center defensive mid. I think that was more of a strategic signing back in many years ago. I need we see a lot of
Think we're losing you.
we which is fun. Uh, time play against the late day. Um, everyone was all one of those guys that's been injured. I think those guys to keep them out of the game, and see what happens. I think that Porto has to sell. We have to make 100 million euros before October 5th. And with the market the way it is, I don't know if that's going to be possible. you?
There you are.
All right. Yeah. So I don't know what you heard and what you didn't hear.
Yeah, no, we heard little pieces in regards to the transfers that came through Porto, and the fact that these guys need to make 100 million.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, a
They
player
make
that you didn't mention that I really like also the left back Zaidu from Santa Clara, like him.
Zaidu.
Zaidu, yeah.
I don't think he's gonna be anything special. He's athletic. He's an athlete.
Hmm.
Let's say that. A lot of speed.
The
A lot of
Nigerian, the
yeah,
Nigerian Gareth Bale. That's what they
yeah.
call him.
Is that what he's referred to?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, you know, to be honest with you, the only game that he stuck out was against you guys when they won started to lose, right? Did they
Everybody
win?
stuck out again. Everybody stuck out against us in that game.
Well, I'm saying that the one when Santa Clara went to started to lose
Yeah.
and they won.
Hmm.
I think he scored his only goal throughout the season, which was on a header. Um, he has a lot of speed, but so does Hussein Bolt, and he had to give up his professional career as a soccer player. So I take that with a grain of salt. I just don't think that he's a guy that's going to be. I don't know if he's good enough. I mean, Manafa is a guy with a lot of speed, and you hear me complain about him constantly.
Hmm.
I don't know if he has the technical skill to hang with us. You know, to play at Porto, you have to have a certain level of pedigree, and I don't think he has it. Um, any other thing on Porto that you would like to bring up?
No, I mean the only thing is that the focus on the domestic market, which is
Yeah,
interesting.
it's a strategy that we have had. Um, I knew that going into the market back in March. Sorry, not March. In May, that looked like what that was going to be the strategy. A lot of cheaper players, um, players that know our league. Are they able to identify with Porto? It might be a little easier, but at the end of the day, you know, um, are they going to be good enough? Zaidu, I don't think so. Carrasa, I think he might be one of those guys that either he's going to get loaned out or he's just going to be playing between the. He's going to be a practice player or playing the B team. Um, Taremi is a guy that is the big question mark. If we sell certain players, can he take somebody's spot? Is he going to be able to um, handle the pressure of playing at Porto? That's a big question. I don't know if he's going to be able to do that. So there's a lot of question marks with him, in my
Yeah, but
opinion.
at least they're when you look overall at the amounts being thrown around, they're very reasonable amounts for these players that you guys are paying for. Where, for example, in um, our team with our transfers, the way we're approaching the market, we're overpaying in a lot of cases.
Well, who would you say
Um,
you're paying for?
oh, I think if this kid Darwin Nunes gets signed, I think it's you're really overpaying. I mean, this kid was signed by Almeria last year for
Seven.
less than 5 million euros,
Is it five? I
less
thought
than
it was
five
seven.
4.5 million dollars or something like that.
I mean,
In a year.
the only issue, George, is what I posted in our private chat with Steph, which he should be joining us soon. Um, um, the weird thing with this Darwin um, transfer is the most or the biggest amount of money that was offered allegedly was 12 million by Valencia. How do you go from 12 million to 26 million?
Well,
That
there's rumors that there was another offer from Leipzig Red Bulls, and then there was another offer from Brighton. I heard,
from
and I think
Brighton.
Brighton, and I think the Leipzig offer was like 22, 23 million. but again, that's rumor, and we know that that these numbers are thrown around. I mean, I just think it's a lot of money for a player that
in the
he's
second division.
young, fourth or fifth uh,
Fourth.
best scorer in the second league, and coming off two big knee injuries in 2017. So we're talking about a transfer fee of around 24 million euros. You're talking about another probably 4 to 5 million euros in commissions. We got to pay 1.5 million euros for the um, what do you call it, for the formação, which goes to Pinarol, and then you're still giving them 20% of a future transfer, which it's a lot of money. It's just a
20%
lot
is
of
a lot of money. 20% is
20%.
yeah, that's a
So
lot of money.
you're basically taking all the risk. A player that really hasn't proven himself, has a lot of injuries. You're taking the risk in case he's a bust. You eat the pretty much 30 million euros in case he becomes a good player, or he is a good player. After you're paying all these commissions, after you're paying all these salaries, you're still giving away 20% of a future transfer. I just don't get um, some of these transfers.
I understand. That one's a very dubious one, and it doesn't seem like it's going to happen. Um, and then you're back to the drawing board. I mean, we had the whole thing with Cavani. Is he going to come? Is he not coming? Now you have this one with Darwin Nunez.
Well, and I
Maria,
think and I think that's the reason why we're overpaying. We're overpaying because we now we we're overpaying because Orelhas and the Benfica higher ups, they threw out these huge names, and after not being able to bring them over, which I think in my case I believe was the best thing that he didn't come over. Is he a great player? He is a great player. He's third or fourth top scorer in Europe the last 10 years. But I think it was actually a good thing that he didn't come over because of all the money that I just think we're going to be in a really bad spot financially. But then you turn around and you throw in that money someone that is unknown, almost the same amount of money, right?
yeah,
When you really look at it, you're probably saving yourself what 5 6 million euros. So you're like they say on the TV, you didn't pay 6 million euros extra to get the real Cavani, but you're paying 30 million to get the fake Cavani.
right.
So it's just that. And then when you look at it, what's his name, Holland, whatever his name is, from Borussia Dortmund, just strange
Halo.
name, Haaland. How much did Borussia Dortmund pay for him? 15 million last year.
Hey, Jay, glad that you can join us. Can you hear us,
Was
Steph?
Yep.
Okay.
What's going on, Bossman?
Not much, bro. Sorry, guys, I'm a little bit late, but
Yeah,
All good, all good.
you can't tell the Navy that you have an important podcast to do.
mandava louco pra caralho.
So where we are, Steph, right now in the show is, I went over the whole Porto transfer. George has been touching on the Benfica transfers. George, are you done with your analysis on Benfica, or you
Yes,
want to add?
we're overpaying, and I forgot about the keeper late also that signed over for a
From both.
bus, which from Boavista. So that's the other transfer that I forgot about. But basically,
How much was that?
I think I don't. To be honest with you, I think let me see. I'm going to go into the transfer market and see
Yeah, I'm actually going to
they
look.
have if they have um, if they have an amount here.
Because Zoblin left. He went to Famalicão, and I think it's
One of those strange deals too.
and we saw Zivkovic leave.
Yeah, and now it looks like he's signing with PAOK and playing against us in a couple of weeks.
That's Tuesday.
Yep.
The one game playoff.
So
Late.
Elton Late, it doesn't have an amount for him.
Yeah, so it's one of those. We'll let you know how much it is at a later date. Make sure you go to the relatório. Was it relatório
Relatório das contas do fim do ano.
dos contos no fim do ano? Tá
Mhm.
bom. Steph, Sporting has been pretty busy. You have a lot of guys training on their own right now, and at the same time, you've bought some players. Want to tell our listeners about that?
Well, Sporting bought some promising players. The most promising would be from Famalicão, who bought. So far, so good. I've liked what I've seen, even though preseasons it's what it is. It's a preseason. That's why it's allowed to have 11 or more substitutions. I always take it with a grain of salt, but you could see that he's a very promising player, and what I've seen so far, I like it. I like what I've seen about Nunes. He brings Gasa, a very competitive player. It doesn't matter where he was schooled at. It does not matter to me. As long as he plays 100% every game, that's what matters to me. I'm not going to go down that road. Players have played at Sporting or Benfica or Porto several times. Just to name a few names: Jordão, Uri Gomes, Shalana. You had Jean Pacheco. You had Souza. So it's not an uncommon thing. It's just that this new generation, the way it is, they make things so ugly, and I don't know why. And I like that Adan, the goalkeeper, brings a lot of experience. And I think
do you believe that Max is going to be sold?
Bruno, everything is possible. Chega lá guys com 15 mil. I think he's gone. Yeah, I mean, Sporting financially is struggling.
I saw something very interesting today. So there's one of our listeners, Pedro Correa, and he has a theory on what's going to happen with Palinha and the money owed to Sporting Braga, and he believes that Palinha is eventually going to just be given, the pass is going to be given to Braga as a payment for Ruben Amorim. Do you see something like that happen? Do you see Federico Varandas saying, hey, you know what, let's do something like that?
No. It's out of the question. Braga also will lose in the deal because people forget, but they entitled to 20% of any sale from Palinha. So if, let's say Palinha is sold to the Wolves of the Premier League. I've heard that a couple times. It's kind of quiet now, but let's say if he is, which we're just going to play the game, let's say, then what's 20% of 50 million? I'm bad with math. 2 times 5.
3 million.
Já está, vês o contabilista aí? Esse gajo Jorge.
No, not 3 million. No, I'm sorry. You said a 15 million?
Yeah.
So 15 million, 10 million would be 15 million, 10% would be 1.5 million.
Pois 3 million.
You're looking around 2 million.
So you see what I mean? So Braga would be kind of losing money on the deal. I don't think it's Sporting is playing with numbers. We don't know anything. We don't have any specifics. We only know what we hear on the ball at record. And Braga complaining, of course. So Sporting is defaulting. they know they have a year to actually pay off the bill until the consequences of the UEFA will fall on them. And I think Varandi's playing with that. But I don't know anything specific, really. But going back to the players we got, Fidel, we still have to give him some time to see what he can give us. Toro, very promising player, Spanish player, 2-year loan. It's actually a pretty good deal. Let's see what he brings to the table. Very excited with Dun Minch. He's a baller. I mean, the kid, he's awesome. So I know we didn't get him. He's been with us for a while, but I hope we keep him. Pelinha, he's been integrating to the team, so that's a good sign. Maybe he will stay. And if he stays, that's actually what we need, because Doumbia is on his way out, like I suspected. The roster of players going out of Sporting, it's very long, and I foresee only a couple being sold, and most of them being loaned, just to avoid the impact of paying their salary. So I think Varandas is running out of time, because if I'm not mistaken, the market will close on the 3rd of October.
5th.
The 5th? Okay, I wasn't too off. The 5th of October, so a month and 2 days away. So Porto, Sporting, and Benfica as well. They're all going to be busy dispatching these players, because if not, they stuck with the huge tab of playing salaries of players not playing the 18. So some will be good deals, some will be bad deals, will be rush deals, at the last minute trying to pay 50% and we'll still pay 50, and depends on of how good of negotiation skills our administration have. And I think at this point in time, Benfica has the upper hand. Porto is pretty good too, and I think Sporting with this administration kind of sucks. Ugvian is still learning, but Anders, he shows that he should not be a president of Sporting whatsoever. There's a good percentage of Sportingistas that don't like him, and I think it would be better if he quit and just let's go for elections again. But we stuck with him, so let's see what happens. But so far, I like the signings we've gotten. Am I missing any other player? I said Pot. I said Nunsens, Aran, Feral. Anybody? Oh, Antunes, he brings experience. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. He was a good player. He knows the Portuguese League. He came from a pretty big injury, but he had the whole summer to recover. He's regaining rhythm. He's regaining confidence. But I like the fact that he brings experience for the for our youth. So he'll be good for the locker room, for the balneario. He'll bring leadership. And I think he'll be a phenomenal addition later, because people forget, that it's not only the Portuguese League, it's Taça da Liga, Taça Portugal, Liga Europa. It's a lot of games. And when you put all of these games together, you're talking about over, 50 games. You will need those players. Player A, player B, and C sometimes. Sometimes you're going to go fishing to your B team or under 23 because you're running out of players from certain positions. So, the way Sporting, Porto, and Benfica build their teams now, it's in a very conscientious way of, hey, let's have a player for this position, 3 or 4 players that can play in this position. 2 will be in the A team and 2 in the B team and 1 in the under 23, but all capable and possible to step in and play that position. They're concerned about depth in nowadays. And I like what I've seen about Sporting. I just can't wait for the market to close, because I don't know, like you said, if Max can be sold, if Nunes can be sold, if Bragança will be sold, and I'm afraid of that. The sooner, even our coaches, Sérgio Conceição, Jorge Jesus, nem tanto, because it looks like Benfica is holding on to their players, and but our coaches, they Ruben and Mourinho, they also afraid, like, oh my God, I might lose a bunch of players if this market doesn't close. Because as well as I do, Porto, Sporting, or even Benfica, I'll include Benfica in the mix, and I'll bring Braga too because they have a decent team. If somebody says, hey, I'll pay you 20 million for Bragança, o Sporting não vai dizer que não, pô, não. Vai deixar o ir, é muito dinheiro, meu. They made those mistakes in the past. I don't think they'll make it twice, but never know, of course. But to wrap it up, if we stay with the team we have now, we'll have a chance to make some noise, but we're not at the level of Benfica and Porto. But if we keep this team, we could be at a striking distance. And if you guys stumble, we could make a surprise. But I don't consider this team to be capable of assuming themselves for the title. We don't have enough depth. We'll have a decent team, and we'll just hope that we can stay close enough to Porto and Benfica so we can later in May, April, May, provoke a surprise and maybe become champions of Portugal. But the odds, they're against us. They're not in our favor.
Epá, parece o Molengas agora com a confiança, mano.
Eu estou a falar a verdade, não é? Eu estou a falar do Sporting, não como tu estás sempre a falar no Benfica.
Eu preocupo com o Porto.
Bruno, falas mais do Benfica que Porto. Eu nunca vi um portista a falar tanto no Benfica. Claro, sempre negativo,
não é falar, é fazer pouco, que é diferente.
Oh, meu Deus do céu. Que angústia de ser portista assim, meu.
Olha, isto é... Eu gosto... I like what's going on right now with Porto. All the attention's on Benfica. You watch all the shows. 55 minutes is dedicated to Benfica. 2 minutes is dedicated to Porto. 3 minutes is dedicated to Sporting. And that's the show.
I don't watch none of it, man. To tell the truth, I've been really on vacation. I've been focusing with my personal life. I have better things to do than watch these obnoxious, stupid shows.
Well, listen, I'm just telling you what I see, and right now I'm liking that Porto is being forgotten about. I like what the press is doing. It's a good sign. It's always a good sign when they don't talk about us.
Let's talk Cavani.
Hã?
O Cavani.
O Cavani já apareceu.
That's the only thing I liked about the news. O Cavani vai amanhã, vai para a semana. We all knew the were coming.
Agora é o Cavani número 2.
Unless Luis Vieira wanted to commit suicide, because that was a bad deal from the get-go.
Yeah, but this Darwin kid is, I think, even worse.
Even a worse deal.
Yeah.
But I think medically he didn't pass the test.
Well, no,
that's not it.
The father pulled him out. George explained it. The father pulled him out of the test because they couldn't agree on some type of commission.
Pois não, queria mais dinheiro.
That's exactly it.
Já sabes como é que é, está.
O problema é que fica mesmo a vender cocaína, não dá para tudo.
Recheados.
Não, esses gajos estão parvos, meu. They ask too much money for the reality of our clubs. Benfica is making a big effort in getting good players for Jorge Jesus, but they just...
Are you sure it's for Jorge Jesus, or are you sure it's to win an election?
It's both.
Well, I think it's more to win an election.
But I think it's a list that was given to Luis Vieira by Jesus.
Yeah, right, but out of the 6 players that they've signed, only 2 of them is what he's wanted.
And that's the way it's going to be, because Benfica is not playing the Premier League. That they don't have the funding that the Premier League teams have. They have decent funding, but not as much.
I've already drove up the scenario to you guys the last time we were on, or one of the last times we were on. If by chance they don't get into Champions League, If by chance they have a slow start into the league, and if by chance Orelhas doesn't win the election, and they made this huge investment in all these guys, o, alguma coisa vai arrebentar.
Vlad, I don't want to talk about Benfica. That's not my club. But all I'm going to say is, os Benfiquistas, they will only know how deep in trouble Benfica is when Luis Vieira is no longer there. When he leaves the administration as the president, that's when they'll say, foda-se, estamos na merda. But now, I understand, ele está para os buracos todos, né? They don't get to see, unless, I don't know how it is na Assembleias Gerais do Benfica, if they have the breakdown of all the transactions. But even then, for the common fan, it's very complicated to understand because they include os passos jogadores, o passivo, não sei mais quê, and it gets very confusing.
Yeah, it gets highly confusing, but
that's including our clubs. They do.
We're not pointing fingers at any particular club. That's all clubs across the board. We all know that, and I understand this commission has to be paid, and that commission has to be paid, and so on and so forth. That's just the way the market rolls. I mean, right now it's still slow. There have been some movements of some other clubs buying and selling and whatnot, but it's not going in a tremendous amount of what, as soon as the EPL teams start spending some money. Once they start spending some money, then I think the money will start circulating around and people will have more money to spend. Right now, that's the way it is. I mean, in our league, unfortunately, I don't think any of us have money to spend. I understand Benfica's buying all these players, but the Benfiquistas have to answer the question, where's this money coming from? It's all loans. They have to eventually pay this back. And it's not getting cheaper. So, and the investment is heavier every year. You start to wonder when. Well, all right, when is this going to end? Because Porto was doing it for a little while, and now look at them. They did that with Lopetegui those 2 years, and they've been paying the price for those 2 years since they put all the money down. They went for broke, and look, they're in a lot of trouble financially. So that's just the way things are. Now let's move on to some other clubs so we can kind of wrap this up. I don't know if you guys have paid attention. It looks like Ricardo Quaresma is going to be signing for Vitória de Guimarães.
Is it a sure thing?
It looks like it's going to happen.
I mean, he was linked to a few Portuguese clubs, so I don't even know if it's believable.
I'm not sure. I've been reading it all morning long that it looks like he's going to be signing with them. Okay.
Which newspaper?
They have a Bola right now too.
Bola. Don't even trust them. Supposed to record at 50-50. Bola, it's 25 and less percent.
I don't read any of those two newspapers. I read the headlines to laugh, and that's about it. I don't read anything else. I follow more O Jogo, but the one newspaper that you do want to really pay attention to, because I think they're the ones that hit the most, is Jornal de Notícias. Jornal Notícias is the one that really hits them pretty solid. So it's going to be one of those. I think it's going to be one of those. If he goes to Guimarães, listen, I think that's a good move for him. He's 36 years old. He was not a starter at Pachuca. And I think that's going to be a good opportunity for him to continue his career.
I think he might end up in the MLS.
I don't know.
Ou China, ou... Meu, o Quaresma é... Se alguém disser assim, a gente vai pagar 4 milhões por ano, ele até vai à Índia.
Well, yes, I agree. But the thing with him, he's talked about coming to the MLS or Brazil, but he really wants to go back to Portugal. So I think he's done with Turkey. Remember, he was not a starter for Kashi Pasha. Sergio Conceição did not approve of him being signed. Did not approve. He says he wouldn't be a good fit for the locker room, whatever that means. Okay. I don't agree with it, but that's his view, and that's his view, and that's that. So I think he's going to continue his career where, I don't know, but it looks like it's going to be one of those places. Boa Vista has also been linked with Chidozi from Porto. Remember that Boa Vista has now a new ownership group. They are going to be supposedly investing heavily in the Portuguese market as well. But it's a lot of players that are already up there in age. They did buy Javi Garcia, ex-Benfica player and Real Betis. They have bought. They've been looking at some other players. So we'll see what happens with Boa Vista. I mean, the Portuguese league needs a strong Boa Vista for sure. To increase ratings, obviously. We have Farense back. Farense is heavily linked to a lot of players. I think they've signed a couple of players from. They had Stolikovic from Braga on loan, and then they got a couple of players from Benfica, I think, as well.
Alex Pinto.
You're right, and then the guy that was the right back from Gil Vicente, Alex Pinto.
Braga also, it's looking good. Did you guys talk about Braga?
We haven't. Braga has been one of those teams that have been.
I like what I saw against Benfica. They didn't play so bad. You know, the second goal of Benfica was uma grande gafe do Braga. But
é o normal.
A normal preseason game. So after 11 substitutes,
regular season game.
Huh?
Regular season game contra o Benfica.
Oh, lá estás tu outra vez. Que caralho.
It's all you got to do is watch the games. That's all.
Oh meu.
But listen, Braga has.
It's like you against Boa Vista and Tondela and Moreirense and all that.
We get a lot of help from Boa Vista. Let me tell you.
We've spoken about this. If Braga wants to get the recognition or have the chance to be called one of the big three teams in Portugal,
never gonna happen.
They have to win a Portuguese championship, and if they do favors to Benfica, like you keep on saying, they'll never be. So if they start -6 every season, they'll never be champions.
I think they're already a big team in Portugal. To be honest with you,
I don't think so.
Just look at their squad. Look at their transfers. Just look at everything.
George, their transfers are good on paper, but remember, you're looking at a lot of guys that are over 30 years old. Castro is not what Castro was 5 years ago.
No, I don't mean the buying. I'm talking about the selling. They're selling. They're making a lot of money. They're going.
They sold Trincão 31 million. 31 million is a lot of money. It pays for their academy, all that stuff. But they lost a huge player. He was a very influential player.
Okay.
If they
Leipzig offered 13 million for Horta, the forward.
Ricardo Horta.
Yep.
Ricardo Horta, sim. And
you got Paulinho. You got Palhinha that they get a percentage of.
Yeah.
They make money.
They make money, yeah. I mean, Salvador has been doing a good job for Braga as far as financially is concerned. I mean,
that's what you need at Sporting.
Listen,
you need him over there.
I keep on saying that. I wouldn't mind doing a swap with Varandas com Salvador.
Orlando já não é o que era.
He's gone.
Histórias de carochinha. Mas he's still a pretty good, consistent player.
He's consistently okay. That's it.
How about Benfica offering 5 million for Smith?
Which Smith?
Ruben.
Smith from Olympiacos. Ruben Smith.
Yeah,
I
Sporting.
mean, for Benfica, again, Ruben Smith would be a good fit for Benfica.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Now,
Why? Because every time you say that, there's a catch.
no, it would be a good fit. I mean, he played well under Jorge Jesus.
Ok.
Yeah.
Aceito isso. Eu estava a pensar que ias dizer uma coisa negativa.
E é benfiquista.
Eu já estou tão habituado a dizer coisas negativas.
Ó, Steph, e é benfiquista.
Opa!
Quem é que não é benfiquista? 6 million.
Eu não.
O Carlos Manuel era sportinguista e jogou a carreira toda no Benfica.
Entendo. Listen, that has nothing to do with it.
Cristiano Ronaldo é benfiquista e jogou no Sporting.
O Manuel Fernandes, que ainda agora há pouco tempo foi treinar no ginásio de Sporting, jogou a carreira no Benfica e é sportinguista.
They're talking about him too.
Who? Which one? For Benfica?
Manuel Fernandes for Sporting.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm saying Ruben Smith, if he does come in, then somebody's going to have to sit out. Vertonghen's not going to sit out. So you can tell me Ruben Diaz going to sit out?
No, starting is Ruben Diaz and Vertonghen, and then the backups are going to be Ferro, it's going to be Jardel, and it's going to be whoever the fifth one is. Jorge Jesus wants five fullbacks, which is stupid because you have Samaris that can do the fullback position. He's what?
If they're going to do that, George, if they're going to do that, that means they're going to go into a 3-back formation.
No, Jorge Jesus is not going to play a 3-back formation.
I'm just telling you. If you're going to get an extra center back like that, it's because you have the intention of going 3-back.
No, he wants 5. He wants 5 because of all the competitions. Even though, which is stupid because you have, if everybody's going to stay, you have Jardel, you have Ferro, which would be the backups. You
Jardel,
have Verto.
I think Jardel.
I don't think he's done. You have Vertonghen, you have Ruben Diaz, and then you have one of the top. I think it came out. He's on top of the 150 or 200 most promising players in the world. You got Morato, which should be the kid that you develop, and Iacanhoto, like Jorge Jesus likes him. That should be the player that you develop to bring up at some point. But he wants to go.
George, I sincerely don't think that they're going to go after Ruben Smith. And if they do, the intention is either to sell or loan out a player.
Or Jardel's leaving. I don't think so.
I think Jardel will go back to Brazil, and Ferro might be on a loan.
Oh, já ouviste alguma coisa?
I'm just saying.
Oh.
I heard he wants to stay with 5 in the squad.
Who?
I don't. Jorge Jesus wants five natural fullbacks because when you look at the squad, you have Samaris that has played a fullback. I mean fullback center back. You have Weigl that has played center back, and then he just played now against Braga with André Almeida at center back. So I don't know why you need so many center backs.
I mean, some of them might be dropped to the B team, so that's why. Or some of those players you mentioned.
They're going to be dropped to the B team. The players I mentioned. What are you, crazy?
He's not going to keep all of them. It's too many. No. He said five fullbacks.
But he wants to have 5 fullbacks in the squad. He wants to get a 5th one from the outside. But what I'm saying is, you don't need to get a 5th one from the outside because technically you have 6 in the squad already. You have the
left fullbacks.
Huh?
Right fullbacks or left fullbacks?
No. The center backs. Centrais.
Não, centrais. Pensava que estavas a dizer que tinhas 5 defesas direitos.
Não, ele quer 5 centrais. Ele quer 5 center backs.
Okay.
Yeah.
So typically they have 4 solid ones, and the 5th one usually they get it from the B team.
Well, that's what I'm talking. That's what I'm telling you. You got Morato, which is the 18-year-old that and in the squad itself, you already have 2 that have played center back in the past. You have Weigl and you have Samaris that could play the center back position too. And he just
the problem that you're seeing now is something that I mentioned with Bruno. Jorge Jesus doesn't believe in the academy, and he has to a little bit. He can't just, ask Luis Vieira, I want to spend money like crazy on all foreigners and not give the academy, which the Benfica academy has been doing pretty good. They've been winning championships in the under 15, under 17, under 15 actually was Sporting, but they've been consistent under 17, under 19, going to the UEFA Youth League final 3 times. So I know Porto won it, the only one. I know, Bruno, you might say something. But the consistency of formar jogadores bons, it's been on Benfica's favor. And Jorge Jesus not using that to his favor, it will hurt Benfica later.
And that kid Morato, the center back, we paid 7 million for him as an 18-year-old, 17-year-old.
I saw him play against Real Madrid. The guy is he's tall and strong and parece un toro.
He already played for the A team last year in the Taça da Liga or something like that, in one of those Taça da Liga games.
Marca presença. He seems to be. Yep. I like the too. Apparently, he's Japanese.
Yeah. The new kid that just signed last year too. He seems good too.
They showed a very mature team against Real Madrid, especially in the second half. It's a shame they lost, because they outplayed Real Madrid in the second half.
A shame for who?
Yeah?
A shame for who?
A shame for benfiquistas.
Tá,
não é? Eu vi o jogo. Não vi mais nada de jeito na televisão, até vi o jogo. A primeira parte, o Real Madrid jogou melhor. And they deserve to be winning in the halftime. But the second half, Benfica owned them. They didn't win the game because, I hate to say it, lack of experience.
Steph, então é assim. Steph, é assim. Estás a dizer que jogaram como nunca e perderam como sempre.
Oh.
Pronto.
Estás a falar de miúdos, meu. Estás a falar de miúdos. Miúdos. É isso que vocês têm que meter na cabeça. Eram miúdos.
Bela Gutmann vive, mano.
Futebol.
Bela Gutmann vive.
Futebol é uma coisa que é um espetáculo para a gente se divertir, não é para a gente estar a odiar uns aos outros.
Eu gosto de mandar umas boquitas.
Eu sei que tu gostas de levar boquitas, mas quando tu as levas não gostas.
Eu dou para trás, mais nada.
Eu sei que gostas de levar para trás.
Não é isso. Já estás a ver muito MVP.
Eu tenho aqui vacina para ti, muito feliz.
Tá bom. Bom. Anything else that we got covered, guys? Braga Braga candidato.
I foresee a great season this year, actually. I foresee a great season. The time to beat Benfica will be now, at the beginning, before they start gelling. So that's my take on it. I see a very competitive Benfica, a very competitive Porto, Sporting, and Braga. I'll give the upper hand to the champion and to the vice champion of Portugal. But Guimarães, if they get the signings they want, they'll be also competitive. And I see Famalicão dropping a little bit because they lost some key players.
Dropping a little bit. They're dropping a lot. They lost all their main players. So you look at it.
I know.
Diogo Gonçalves that went to Benfica. He was an influential player for them last year. They lost their goalkeeper. Defendi went to Farense. Vanat, I think, is going to be going permanently. They got Zoblin from Benfica.
But that was all expected. They had a lot of loan players, and
Racine is going back to Valencia because he had a good season.
That's what happens when you have loan players. It sucks. That's why I'm not in favor of loan players because the team could be hard.
When there's no money, that's all you could do. Fabio Martins went back to Braga. Okay. And Tony Martinez might be coming to Porto. So I don't. They gained. No, they actually didn't even gain him. They were supposed to get Andre Pereira and they didn't get him. But that I don't think that was going to be a difference anyway. So I think Famalicão is going to suffer, but they're going to have to rely on their contacts from the GM that they have, who is a competent GM. He's going to he's going to do the same thing as he did last year. He's going to get a bunch of loan players in, and that's how they're going to be. The one thing that we got to say about Guimarães, other than the whole thing with Ricardo Quaresma, Guimarães invested a lot in the English market, but they invested in youth players, just like Edwards of last year, and they want to get a boatload of them this year. They want to get I think it's about 3 or 4 very good. I'm sorry?
They bought them?
Apparently, yes.
And okay, that's smart. Because that kid they about to sell him for how much?
Pepe Rodrigues.
The British kid that had a phenomenal
season. He's not being sold to anybody right now.
Because no one wants to pay the fee they want. And that's smart. Hold on to him then.
Yeah, I mean, eventually, if you have the money, you're going to pay for his services. They want 15 million. That's a lot of money.
Got him. The kid is good.
I think he can play at any of the big 3.
O Guimarães não tem presidente como o Varandas, senão já estava vendido. O Varandas, aquele no carro não é varanda. Foda-se.
They went to get a lot of quality English players, a lot of young English players, just like Marcus Edwards from last year. But now the question is, they have Thiago as the coach. How much experience is this guy going to bring? That's going to be the big question mark.
Sometimes you got to take a risk. They must have seen something he did that they liked it, you know? I mean, everybody starts somewhere.
There's nothing to see about him.
But George, he has no experience. I mean, how do you get a
that's what I said. There was nothing to see about him. He hasn't coached.
But sometimes Thiago, he played in so many teams, and
that means nothing.
Well, look at Juventus. Juventus just freaking hired Pirlo as their head coach with no experience either.
Yeah. Zero experience.
Hold on, guys. Sometimes certain players, you could see that they great leaders in the balneario and great captains, and you could see this guy one day is going to be a great coach. And possibly,
you still have to go through the whole process of you know.
They stay beyond the time of practice with the head coach to learn a few more. I don't know. I'm just guessing. I mean, if that was me and I wanted to be a coach later at the end of my season, I would hang around with my head coach and learn a few things and stuff like that. But I agree, they should still go to school and learn all the tactics and all that stuff. I agree with that too.
Well, I mean, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, I think everyone believes that they're going to turn into the next Zidane. If Zidane turned to be the Zidane because of the team that he inherited. If you had Zidane going to Valladolid,
não é bem assim também. Porque
I think so.
Há duas comparações. O Zidane, quando foi para o Real Madrid, estava uma merda.
No. I don't agree with that.
But he had a lot of good players.
He did have a lot of good. You have to know how to deal with them.
That's not being that doesn't make you a good coach.
You have to have both.
No, because if you're that in Real Madrid, in Real Madrid, what Bruno's trying to say in Real Madrid, where the players already have the skill itself, and all they need is somebody to guide them, somebody to especially from a player of his status, he doesn't need to know tactical stuff. He's one of the worst coaches when it comes to tactics. He doesn't know any tactics. Oh, what he knows how to do is he knows how to handle players. He knows how to handle he knows how to handle players as far as these big status players. He knows how to care for them and he has their respect. That's one thing. But what Bruno's trying to say is put him in a team that doesn't have the skill level of a Real Madrid. Put him in a team that doesn't have the skill level of a Real Madrid, where you have to win through tactics, and you won't do anything.
Nowadays, to be a successful coach, he had to be a good psychologist,
Yeah.
a good manager as far as dealing with millionaires. Uh, because this is all prima donnas. Uh,
Well, why has Mourinho struggled the last couple of years?
because he thinks is o feitio dele e goes with everyone, mas o feitio dele já o conhecem.
Boys, that's one thing, but there's another issue, Steph, is that he
No one
doesn't
wants to put up with this shit.
he didn't change his style.
No, agree. É muito tradicional.
No style.
Porto em 1990 ainda vai trabalhar agora em 2020. Já não.
What I'm saying is he never changed his philosophies, his style of play, anything like that. You have to evolve as a coach. You have to change it from time to time. He never did that. Now, now Zidane, he only now you see the struggles. He doesn't have Ronaldo anymore. He struggled. Okay, they won the league, but it was more Barcelona gave him the league versus them winning the league. So let's call a spade. But what has Real Madrid done in the last couple of years in Champions League? They've been getting knocked out of the round of 16 or the quarterfinals. I think it's just been the round of 16.
I mean, let's call it the way it is then. I mean, everybody brags about how little teams like Lyon and what was the other team?
Red Bull Leipzig.
Yeah, they reached the finals.
Atalanta.
Semifinals and semi-skate. Everybody forgets it was just one game.
Claro.
If it was two games, it would have been completely different. This one game gave the upper hand to the smaller teams, so to speak, because they were all quality teams. But they gave the upper hand because now, like you say, George, when you're a good coach, when you play one game away and a game at home, you play with two different tactics. You play more carefully away and more offensively at home. This was like a Taça Portugal game. It's win or lose, you go fucking home. Mm-hmm. It was different. And that's why we saw so many surprises. And I gotta tell you, I liked it. Maybe they should change the format and just have one game. But money, it's not gonna change.
It won't happen.
It brings too much money to games.
Yep. I think you hit the nail on the head. There was a lot of quality games, number one. There was a lot of quality surprises, number two. I think that it only benefited well, yeah. I mean, and
better shape. It could last longer, and that's what happened. And Bayern Munich, they outclassed everybody.
By far.
Forget about it. Paris Saint-Germain, they will rely on Neymar. Neymar, para chegar aos calcanhares do Ronaldo, tem merda.
And another guy that I wanted to mention about a really good coach.
I'll put it that way. Neymar, he could never be in the same patamar do Messi, Ronaldo. He'll always been a Lord here, always.
But let me just mention another coach that I feel, me personally, I feel that we never saw how good he really was Pep Guardiola. Because Pep Guardiola, from the moment he started coaching, he's been at all big clubs. I want to see him at a smaller club and have those results. I don't think you're going to see that now. No. Now, had to take a step back, and he went to take on Tottenham. Let's see what he does with that. But remember, prior to that, he won the Champions League with Porto.
So Guardiola is still at MC.
Manchester City.
Yeah.
So he went to Barcelona to
which team?
Huh?
You're telling me you would like to see him in which team?
Another team qualquer, mid-table. Like, say, for example, hold on a second.
That's not a good analysis.
Hold on a second. Let him take over a Newcastle, and let's see how good he really is.
That's not a good analysis because he's not going to step down when he's making X amount of money. He's not going to make less money. Now, if you told me this way, because this is what happened to Liverpool. Liverpool, they need a world-class coach. So they got the German guy. After 30 years of not winning the Premier League, they finally won, and they were champions of Champions League last year. They won the clubs of clubs competition against Flamengo. So if you're telling me that you like to see Pep Guardiola like in a Manchester United and at the same level at Manchester City and make them champions, then I agree. But he's not going to stand down below to a Newcastle making less money. Has to be a club that can afford his salary, but it's a big club that's struggling, like as Juventus to win the Champions League. And he goes to Juventus and he wins the Champions League. Then, yeah, we could say he's a good coach. But you're not going to see him going to Newcastle. Why would he go to Newcastle?
I'm just saying, I'm using that as an example. Like, we saw Mourinho take Leiria, and when he left Leiria, they left him in third place, and they had Derlei and Nun Berlin.
Beginning of his season, of his career.
Understood. Okay, but
you're not going to see Mourinho in Leiria.
Brunch, but I'm saying Guardiola, since the day he started, he went right to Barcelona. We don't have him
Vão ter que pagar pela ir.
Huh?
O Mourinho só para ir a Leiria, só para dizer olá, vão ter que pagar para ele lá ir.
I don't know. I'm saying.
I think he's a good coach. I think he will be successful anywhere he goes to. But you know, he gets a little bit of help because he goes into these teams that, you know, they write blank checks. You know, so he's like a Mourinho too. Mourinho's the same thing. Mourinho, where he was really successful after Porto, it was well, I can't even say that because, you know, Mourinho, you know, when he went to Chelsea, you know, the guy, you know, pretty much gave him whatever players he needed. But then when he was fired, he went to Inter and he won the Champions League with, you know, a bunch of formatos, which is, you know, just showed again his skill level. Guardiola won at Barcelona, and he really didn't do anything else as far as internationally with Bayern Munich and Manchester City. He didn't do anything. He didn't win the Champions League with either club. And this year was a huge opportunity for them to go through, and they still couldn't go through.
Manchester City is getting old. That's the problem. And then plays with big.
Well, but listen, but whose fault is it that they're getting old? He just offered they're buying the center back from Napoli, Colibi, whatever, and they're paying 80 million euros for him. Why would you pay 80 million euros for a 30-year-old?
I mean,
so whatever issue he has, it's his fault.
And I blame the Spanish League and Premier League for the way soccer is now, like tão inflacionado, because they pay these ridiculous fees. They should have a cap. It's too much money. I mean, why would you pay 80 million for a player? I mean, it is the way it is now, but it's too much money.
Well,
they come up with third competition in the UEFA. In the UEFA, which will be Champions League, Liga Europa, and there's a third competition coming up now. Como é que se chama essa competition? Que for lower tier teams?
I don't even know.
I don't even know the name of it.
I mean, either, but it's supposed to be for the teams placed in 5th, 6th, and 7th place, and I'm afraid that's all we're going to win as Portuguese teams. Third lowest. É uma espécie de taça das taças que havia antigamente.
Yeah.
Remember when we had the Taça das Taças, Liga dos Campeões e a UEFA Cup? So
talking about UEFA, how about that Sevilla and Bruno's idol Lopetegui? Yeah?
Well, that's
sixth. They figured out a way on how to win that competition, and that's it.
And you know what? They qualified for the Champions League.
Big comeback against Inter too.
And a lot of money they made.
Talking about the Champions League. Remember this year, third placing Portugal gets an opportunity to play in the Champions League too.
Qualifying round. That's why Braga was so aggressive in getting some really good players. And
that could be
level with Ruben Amorim is high. I'm not gonna say very high, but I like it. I like it because I could see his fingerprints of the players we got. It was you could see that Ruben Amorim said, "I want this, 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 and this guy," and I feel more confident than last year with the 8 or 10 coaches we got. Até perdi a conta, caralho. Foda-se.
That you're still paying.
Yes, é verdade.
It's okay. We're still paying €1 million for our own too.
Even the coach lá, o Sérgio, we still now he wants 300 more.
As receitas da UEFA estão penhoradas ainda.
Foda-se, mas calado, meu. Aquilo é uma confusão de grelos.
Isso é que tu gostas, uma confusão de grelos.
Cheira de bacalhau.
Guys are too much.
Epá, aí, olha para aquele emblema, parece o contentor de lixo lá da Câmara Municipal de Ilha.
What else we got to talk about, guys?
Good, my friend.
Já está a 1 hora e 15 minutos.
We're good?
We good?
So,
all right, cool.
all right, guys. So we're gonna try to do this on a weekly basis, if possible. If we can't, we'll try to do it every other week to try to keep up with the rumors. Before we go, George, what's going on with your Benfica? They play Tuesday.
Is it Tuesday?
Tuesday.
Isn't it
Next
June?
week? No, next
it's a
week. The following week, yeah.
Well, this já estou tudo confuso.
The 15th. I'll give you a score 3-1 Benfica already.
3-1. Wow.
Against
No.
Paok.
No fans. That's the only reason why I'm giving you 3-1.
You won 4-1 last time with fans.
Yeah, but
Paok
these guys are.
Oh yeah, the 15th at 2 p.m. aqui na América. So you give what, 3-1 Benfica?
Yes, Cavani Jr.
Esse resultado, esse resultado é que era desconfiar. E tu, portista maluco?
I think Benfica wins 2-1.
I think it's going to be 2-2 PKs and Benfica is out.
Foda-se.
Não sei, eu acho que o Paok também está a pensar nos milhões, não é? I'm just saying, the administration, they must be telling about Ferreira, hey, you want your bonus, make sure you win the game, we want the money. It's a lot of money.
Ouve lá, o bônus vai de onde? Vai do Benfica ou vai do Paok?
Oh, foda-se. Olha, eu vi esse grego para lá chegar e agora estás-me a dizer que...
O Abel, já te esqueceste do sorriso depois das derrotas com o Benfica?
Olha, os gregos são levados na breca. No brinco os gregos. Eu penso que a Ferreira não vai. Ele tem o melhor interesse para o clube dele, não é? Eu penso assim.
You would hope, right?
Aquele portista ali é meio maluco, está sempre a pensar em corrupção e o caralho.
É só ler o Rui Pinto. Já começa amanhã.
Esse aqui deve acordar no pequeno almoço. É BTV.
Até me lembro os lábios só a pensar nisso.
Tu gostas de, sabe de quê? Tu gostas de peanut butter. Gostas de peanut butter.
É pinadouro.
É. Ei, vim para a festa. Aquele que deve estar assim, mas porquê que eu disse isso, caralho?
Tem que ir para o Brasil fazer uma plástica para tirar aquele focinho de coisa, porque se é apanhado na rua, parte-o todo.
Coitado.
You know that guy?
Leva com very like nos cornos.
Tell you something, George. That guy had to block his Facebook. He had to delete it.
Of course.
Because and people found out where he lived, or not lived, but where he worked. They were calling his office. They wanted to speak with him, and they wanted to invite him to the party. Queriam convidar à festa.
Eu ia, caralho, eu ia.
O gajo chama-se Sérgio. O Sérgio está aí. Queremos convidá-la para a festa.
É que foi feito de uma maneira inocente. Que coitado do homem. Eu até tenho pena dele, se queres que eu diga.
Eu não.
Eu tenho, mas faz-me rir, atenção. Mas, pá, eu não sei como é que os benfiquistas se sentem, não é? Eu espero que não levem a mal, que não querem bater no homem.
Não.
Ele, quando disse aquilo, o Benfica estava a ganhar o jogo claramente e estava na liderança. Até entendo, mas eu não sei, o futebol de hoje em dia está... I don't like the way it is, bro.
Steph, you just asked a question. I want to answer the question. The question you asked was, eu não sei como é que os benfiquistas sentiram quando eles viram aquilo. Dude, they were all sharing it at the time. They were all sharing it.
Because they had a vision for it.
Claro, they were all sharing it. Agora,
eu pensava que em maio, ou agora em julho, acontecesse o que aconteceu. Que o Porto viesse a ser campeão. Mas aconteceu.
Aconteceu e agora esse gajo tem que comer e ele agora não está aí, ele está todo fodido, o gajo.
Tem que mudar o Facebook e o caralho.
Bro, he had to stop it. He had to end it. I'm telling you, I'm being honest.
Uma pessoa calada é um poeta do caralho.
Então, olha.
Anyway, pronto, acabamos.
All right, guys.
Yeah, vamos.
Officially, the season starts, I believe, the 19th or 18th. The first game is
Famalicão, Benfica.
Lá no norte.
Lá no norte, pois. Olha, hoje o Braga got denied fans in the stadium. They want to do a trial, and o DGS said no. Mas há festa do Avante e touradas e não sei o quê, não sei o que mais. Isso há pessoal. Agora para o futebol não há.
Até em casa das putas, que estão abertas.
Estão a abrir.
Onde há putas e vinho verde está sempre aberto, caralho. Isto é um negócio da China.
Já marcaste a tua reserva?
Não, estou casado, mas não posso.
Pronto, então.
Sou um homem feliz, não preciso dessas coisas.
Pronto, só fiz a pergunta.
Vai ver um completo, Bruno, vai ver um completo.
O Bruno é o General Manager do Calor da Noite ainda lá da filial do Porto, portanto ele is taking reservations para as meninas fazerem algum dinheiro.
Eu Calor da Noite e Jorge no Elefante Branco.
Já, por acaso já fui lá ao calor da noite. Não, foi.
Mas não foste ao Elefante Branco.
Não. Fui ver há uns anos atrás, fui ver o Benfica Paris Saint-Germain em Paris, quando foi o primeiro jogo do David Luiz, e depois saímos daqui na quarta à noite. O jogo era na quinta, chegámos a Paris na quinta, vimos o jogo, depois fizemos uma direta até sexta-feira de manhã lá para o Moulin Rouge, com essa porcaria toda, e depois fomos ao Porto 2 dias, e no último dia foram-me dar, nunca tinha ido ao Porto, foram-me dar o Grand Tour ao Porto. Foi Calor da Noite, Pérola Negra, e qual é a outra que está lá também? Há lá uma outra também qualquer, esquece-me o nome dela, mas foi logo as 3 damas lá. Mas o Calor da Noite foi a minha favorita, que vi lá os portistas todos, vi lá aquilo era lá a equipa toda do Porto, a equipa A, B, C e D. E o árbitro estava no VIP.
Eles têm que tirar o stress.
Aliviar o stress. Mas, Steph, já perguntaste ao Jorge a discoteca lá no Estádio da Luz? Pergunta-lhe a discoteca lá no Estádio da Luz. Dentro do estádio, não fora.
Então,
Do estádio.
para fazer dinheiro, vale tudo, caralho. Só não vale tirar olhos.
Dentro do estádio é no parking lot.
Ouve lá. Qual deles já?
É o que for.
Ok.
É primeiro.
E já está aí.
Mas tu estás a confundir, porque a nossa discoteca é no outro lado da segunda circular, lá na WC.
A discoteca, eu sei a discoteca. O Paulo Gonçalves, amanhã vamos saber. Amanhã.
Oh, boy.
Este ano vou ser um comentador mais otimista e menos a atacar as pessoas. Mais a ver o futebol pelo futebol.
Vai ser mais nice.
Não vou falar em data de fundações ou fusões ou nada disso. I'm gonna stop with that.
Então estás a dizer que tu estás a preparar um tacho lá na TVI, na SIC Notícias e por aí fora, porque agora já não há clubes.
Não há programas desses.
É só independentes.
Pá, olha, eu vou dizer uma coisa que eu concordo com a média portuguesa, até que enfim chegaram a essa conclusão. Esses programas só incentivavam o ódio. Eu nunca vi fãs dos clubes serem tão agressivos. Vai Twitter, social media, Facebook, calling names to each other, wanting to fight each other, stab each other, fight each other. Soccer games shouldn't be that way. It should be actually a family day. Hey, o nosso clube está a jogar. Oh, Maria, vamos com os filhos. But you can't do that because for the safety of your family. Ok, Bruno, então vamos fechar as portas.
Hoje vamos. We talk in whenever we decide. Stay tuned. As they say.
Later.
George, have a good one, all right, boss?
Bye, guys.
Tchau.
Tchau, bacalhau.
Tchau.
Viva o Sporting. Bye.
E tchau, Laura.